Well, aloha everyone. Welcome back to Inspire Collective Online Peace. My name is Russ Kimura, where we interview entrepreneurs and business owners about their journey in faith and business. And today we have Susan Santos. Super glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us, Susan.
Thank you for inviting me.
Why don't you share a little bit about your business and your journey and how you got here and where you're at?
Yes. Okay. So I'm in the insurance industry. Been in it since 1994, right out of college. And I thought I had a direction of where I was going. In my 20s, I kind of had that small mindset thinking that, I'm gonna have a comfortable job. And I never thought I was going to be an actual business owner. A young parent at the time, and I really wanted security and stability. And but God had other plans. So in 2015, actually 2016, he brought us to Hawaii.
Okay.
And at the time, I was in a different career, different position actually within the same company. But we were, my husband and I were very comfortable. And I come home one day and I said to my husband, "Hey, what do you think about moving to Hawaii? There's this opportunity." And he said, "Absolutely not. We're settled here. This is our."
You were living in
California at the time.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. We were living in California at the time. And so I come home and he says, "No, we're not moving. We're not going anywhere. This is our home." And we said, "Okay, well, let's leave it up to God. If this is where we're supposed to go, then God will open the doors." And sure enough, within that time period of when the opportunity came about and the time we actually moved here to Hawaii was 90 days.
Wow.
90
That's
days.
fast. And how old are your kids at this point?
My kids were a fifth grader and a second grader. My two youngest ones were a fifth grader and a second grader. It's all about timing too, because my second daughter had just graduated from high school, so she was off to college, and my oldest special needs, so she's with us. But again, never thought that we'd just get uprooted in 90 days. So we had a home at the time. We sold our house, packed up our stuff, uprooted the kids, found them new schools all within the middle of the school year even. So it was pretty wild. But when people ask how we came to Hawaii, I always say it's God. God brought us here.
Yeah.
For sure.
How did he lead you? So how did that come about? Like, you're comfortable in California and then there's this opportunity and you feel like God's kind of leading this, and 90 days, that's pretty quick to like uproot, sell your home and come to a new place, new land, right?
Yes.
Well, how did that all come about?
Well, I think I was in a point in my career where I needed a change and I knew I needed to do something different, but I didn't know what that looked like at the time.
Sure.
Really didn't have an idea. And as I said, it just kind of not fell into my lap, but happened to be at a meeting and was speaking to a colleague and mentioned that there was this opportunity in Hawaii. And I thought, okay, well, let me talk to my husband about it. And that's kind of where it started. But it was always with the premise that if this is God's plan for us, then we're going to follow. We're going to surrender. And it wasn't always the case, as I mentioned earlier. In my younger years, in my 20s, I thought I was in control.
Sure.
And that I needed to figure it out. And I needed to know exactly where my career was going, especially as a young parent at the time. And over the years, I've learned that it's not up to me. It's really up to God. So
yeah,
that's kind of what led us, brought us.
I think that's all of our journeys, right? So we start off thinking, most of us, I'm in charge. I need to be in control. I need to make the best decision for me, which is fine. But really, I'm on the throne and I'm making those things. How did that shift come for you, where you eventually, now you say, hey, if it's God, we're gonna go. Like, that's a big shift from like, I need to be in charge and to like, my faith is in something greater than me, and that's Jesus Christ, and I'm gonna follow him if he says, which is a faith step. How did that journey for you come about, like in I guess you said 20s and into like journeying into like to a place of surrender? Everyone's journey is different.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just within business, it's in your personal life as well, right? And you go through these twists and turns sometimes through life, the peaks and valleys. And I learned that I can't control things. I can't control the outcome. The only one who can is God, and he's the only one that I can rely on. Sure. Really. And especially within my business, I've never been driven or motivated by money. That hasn't and won't be my driving factor. It's always about how I can fulfill God's role that he has planned for me in my life, and what I can do for others through him and with him through my business.
which is it is a better way to live, where we're not chasing the almighty dollar. We're not chasing our own significance, but we are committed to something greater than ourselves, and that's God's kingdom. So as I guess, so to speak, a kingdom business owner, how do you approach your day-to-day, or what does that look like to bring God into your business, so to speak, or not bring him in? I guess as you, as a kingdom follower, are already in the marketplace, you already automatically bring it. But are there times or circumstances or stories that you can share where, like, man, I really felt God was showing me why I'm doing what I'm doing, and my purpose, or how I follow him in my business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day I wake up, and as I'm driving to the office, I always say, Lord, give me the strength that whatever comes my way today, that you're in control. You give me the right words, the right attitude.
Sure.
And it's hard not to insert your own beliefs sometimes, or your own preconceived notion about people and things and the way it should be done. And I always just ask God for his discernment and his guidance that, this is your business, Lord. You're just using me. I'm just your vessel. And that's kind of how I approach it, right? I try to, at least.
Sure.
It doesn't happen all the time. Every day I fail. Yeah. But it's really just about inviting God into the business, because it is really his.
Yeah. Yeah. And as entrepreneurs and business owners, sometimes it's lonely, right? Sometimes we're on our own and we're doing our thing. We got to remind ourselves to stay focused and present with what God has for us. But how has Inspire Collective helped you in being able to surround yourself with like-minded, faith-based Christians who are business owners, and, kind of trying to fulfill God's purpose within their business as well? How has Inspire Collective impacted you, or what have you seen through that?
Yeah, and I was just thinking about the Inspire Collective group before I came out here today, and looking through some of my previous notes and some of the different meetings and luncheons we've had. And, I just love having this community of believers, business owners that are there really to support each other, not only in our businesses, but, our professional lives, but in our personal lives also. And it's nice to have people that you can rely on to provide advice or support when things aren't going well, or if you need a specific advice on certain expertise that you don't have.
Right.
It's nice to be able to collaborate and have this community of people, different business owners, and that have different experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so great to be able to, bounce things off each other, or ask for help, or a connection can, hey, I know someone and I can connect you. I think it's really important in that community of Inspire Collective and business owners who are also seeking the kingdom.
Absolutely.
What would you say to someone out there who is they're struggling with, still feel like I'm on the throne, but I want to make decisions for God. I want to get to a place where I can just say, hey, God, if this is you, I'm going to move, right? And that's a very challenging, surrendering kind of place to be. But what would you, any suggestions or tips, or how would you encourage, I guess, those people? What would you say to them that they're struggling with that? I still feel like I'm on a throne and it's about me, even though I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about God and what I'm doing. And what would you say?
Yeah, I think that if you're struggling with that, God will reveal it. He really will. You're never going to be at a place where you won't know, because He will let you know. I like I said, I thought that my career was going to go a certain way, and that I was going to, I never thought I would be a business owner. That's for sure.
Sure.
And, again, turns out God had other plans, and, He'll reveal it. You just have to listen. Sometimes I think we get caught up in our own thinking and our own mindsets that are much smaller than what God has planned for us. And it's just important to be still and listen. And main thing is surrender.
Yeah, listening to God, being still, being able to hear Him. How has your mindset shifted over the years? You mentioned you never thought you'd be a business owner, which is kind of my story too. I never thought I'd be. I remember when I was sitting with a couple business owners, because I did credit card processing, so I dealt with a lot of business owners, and they're like, "Oh, you're so entrepreneurial." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm good with my W-2 employee. I never thought that either." But it's funny how God shifts that in you, and so. And that's not for everyone, right? Yeah. I think it doesn't mean that we're highlighting, it's only have to be business owners. God can do a work in employees wherever we're at, leaders, teachers, all of these places. But for the person who is looking to expand their mindset, or maybe just knows God is trying to take them to another place in their mindset to experience the fullness he has. What were things that along your journey that you experienced, or how did that mindset shift start to grow for you?
Yeah, I just believe in that your people, God puts people in front of you for a reason. You're never in a situation where it's not according to his plan. In other words, he brings people into your life to encourage you, to support you. As I was mentioning earlier, I never thought I would be a business owner. I was an employee. And my leaders at the time believed in me and felt that, hey, you need to look into running your own business. And I never thought that I could, or I wanted to, even wanted to. But I think that God was speaking through those people to encourage me. And so every interaction we have there, it's no accident. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for everything. There's a reason for everything. And when you're in a meet, like I was in a meeting and this opportunity came up.
Sure.
And so I was at that meeting for a reason.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't even supposed to be at that meeting. But yeah, but now that I think back and I look back and I can see every moment where God's hand was at play. And it's just, it gives me skin sometimes to think about that, how he works.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. And I love that piece where you kind of touched on the mentorship, or maybe not mentorship, but people in our lives that speak faith and see something in us that we don't see. And I think it's really important for us as individuals to do that for someone else, or seek that out. Maybe you need people to speak life into you, to speak vision where you, I don't see it. No, I see it. You can do this, right? And so those cheerleaders that God placed in our lives are super important. And so if we don't have them, get in a community that people that will bring that to you. Or if you are maybe further along and you can provide that to someone, I want to encourage you to do that. Step on and be that voice of encouragement to a younger generation that needs to hear, you're enough, you can do this, step out, because that's what's going to grow the kingdom. And if we just kind of coast and I'm good for ourselves, that's I don't believe that's where God's fullness happens. And so I love that piece of just speaking life and mentorship into other people, as well as receiving it and seeking it out for ourselves. Any other last things you want to share about your journey within insurance, or anything you want to share with our community about faith and what you've been able to experience here?
Yeah, I just want to touch a little bit more on that. What you just said is, you never know how your words are going to make an impact on someone, no matter how little it may seem, right? Sure. You never know how that seed can just be planted. And it's so important to not only seek that from other people, but for you to instill faith and support and love and guidance to others, whether it's someone that you work with or work for, or who works for you. Every interaction is an opportunity to just share the goodness that God has for our lives and our businesses and our careers. We don't have to have it all figured out all the time.
That's very true. And sometimes in business, or as business owners, entrepreneurs, you might want to feel like I have to have it all together and I have to have it all figured out. But the reality is we don't. And so it's nice to be able to be vulnerable, but also have people encourage us. And so speak life, right? God calls us to speak life into people. And so I love that piece as well. Thank you for sharing that. Hopefully that encourages someone that you can do this. You are positioned perfectly, divinely by where God has you, and take a step of faith. Absolutely. Well, this has been great, Susan. Any other things you want to share with our community, or that you would love to impart to us?
I'm so happy and glad to have the Inspire Collective and be a part of the Inspire Collective. And if you're not already part of the group, I encourage you to do so, because it is an amazing community to be able to connect with other, not only business owners, but just people in general in the community, and to like-minded people. And it's so important to have that.
Yeah. So if you're interested, check out Inspire Collective. If you're here on island, we want to connect with you and be able to rub shoulders and encourage one another in our words, and business comes out of it. We talk, but sometimes, hey, I have a referral for you. Hey, I have this and that. So there's so much that can come from it, but it's more than just a network and business exchange. It's the life on life and being able to encourage each other's faith. So thank you for joining us on our Inspire Collective piece. Aloha.
Aloha.